Well, there was a group called the Merry Men, and we're not going to bore their title, but I don't think there are any unhappy people among us as we reflect on one of the most amazing draws that I can recall the West Indies being involved in. I welcome Stephen, Terry, and Hartley. I think what is also fitting for us in the Caribbean, of course, the game being played in New Zealand, they say in the Caribbean, and we're in different parts of the world. But pardon me,
Mhm.
Stephen.
Yeah.
Um, but unless we were actually there, most of us, I think, would be able to say, "Oh, what a night!" And it
Yes.
certainly was
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
night of exciting action. Guys, let's start with you, Stephen.
Oh, I have to borrow Terry's beautiful broad smile because I'm so happy about the result. The draw, to be honest, feels like a win. It's such a phenomenal achievement in terms of a number of things. The fact that this fourth innings total team total now puts us ranked number two in all-time history, only bettered by a team that did it back in 1939, right? So the achievement is huge, and the fact that it would have made every cricket lover in the Caribbean full of pride and happy, that it's not about the win, but it's about the way that the game was played. And I'm just thrilled with the result this morning.
Before the others come in, though, I think I can also add that I know it's almost like a cliche. Cricket was a big winner, and I'll tell you why I say that. There's this debate over the various formats and things of that nature, and if
Mm.
Test cricket is dying, and all the debates, and that's fine because we have the right to express our opinion.
Yeah.
But in watching the game and listening to the commentator, Ian Bishop, he said on a number of occasions that there were he was getting WhatsApps and calls, I believe mostly WhatsApps, from people all around the world, journalists, former players, just about everyone, and they're all tuned in, they're all taken in by what was going on. I know I think he does some T20 games as well. I would have to check with him to find out if he's ever had that response. Maybe apart from the four sixes from Braffett.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, there's more of a up and down unpredictability in terms of um, Test cricket, right? Because you see teams come from uh, almost unwinnable positions to win, and you see teams do what we did last night, which is to hold on in the face of tremendous challenge. Yes, they were down two bowlers, but I wouldn't really put a lot of weight on that. There's some weight, of course, but based on our performance over the recent past, it's a phenomenal result.
Let's get the basketball in before he decides to go bouncing away.
No, no, I'm just as happy as everybody else, Philip. I actually stayed and watched every single ball.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. So,
The basketballer
yeah,
watching every single ball of cricket. Wow.
yeah, yeah, and well, last night that I talk about,
Yeah.
and then and also like I get nervous when like three overs to go and thing I start facing it. I start down my stomach. I start saying, okay, well, just
Hmm.
hold on for these three overs. You
Yeah,
know what?
yeah.
Now that was that inside there coming to throw. Right.
Well,
So
I recall all sorts of things. There was a match. I don't remember the details now. There's some match where three wickets fell in the last over, and the test match as well, and the team lost. So all sorts of things came into my mind, and
yeah,
I quite agree
yeah,
with you, Terry. Those last two overs are probably worse than at any other point during the course of the game.
yeah.
Harley, I hope
Hmm.
you recovered.
Oh, I am. I have to be the happiest person in the world because those are three of my charges that I would have managed for Barbados. And in fact, Hope and Justin Graves started under me. So I was very happy. In fact, my brother Mark, who is visiting in from New York, we had a conversation around six, no, just before six, because the game hadn't started yet. And he said that he wanted Justin Graves to score a double century. I said, my mom, you're a boss. I said, a double century. Yeah, I said, you're not even saying Sheho, but he said Justin. Well, there is a lot of thing there because Mark and Justin's father, but Mark calls him Anthony, but we call him Herman Graves. They were contemporaries and they played together as youth cricketers. So he is a part of the family. But we all know Justin. But to see how we lost Sheho early, unfortunately, but if you do not go out and that somebody else will come in, so Shea went out, but I'm still halfway up Everest to go. Don't forget, we were still halfway trying to climb Mount Everest.
I actually think that we were at the bottom looking up trying to decide if we could make it or not.
If we could go up.
So, and a lot of us don't remember that Roach is he's very stingy, to use the word of some cricketers, at protecting his wicket. And once he
Sorry to
has,
interrupt you, Hardy, but don't put me in that. Don't put.
well, not you. Well,
I've forgotten about Kemar Roach. I think the
listen,
selector and the administration
listen,
forgot about Kemar Roach. Don't get me started on this, Hartley, because
please,
to
please.
see people standing and applauding and smiling and skinning their teeth as we say in Barbados,
Boy.
it almost looked wrong. But don't get me started, Hartley. Continue.
Yes. So the whole
Just let it
issue
go,
is
Philip.
that
Just let it go. Let it go.
Roach,
There should have been a public apology after that game. But don't get me started, Harley. Sorry.
no, it's just that we tend to play cricket. Some of us, a lot of us watch it, but very many are students of this game, you know.
You're trying to say that Orso Select is not a student to the game and that
No,
the director
Sammy.
of cricket are not students they're not students to the game.
Well, either
That we moving on from Kemar Roach. You heard? Did you? I really didn't want to interrupt you, but did you hear the comments from Justin Graves? Justin Graves said at one point he said that he described him as a legend. He said he was out there directing him virtually. Now, here's Justin Graves, a batsman with centuries behind his name at various levels of cricket. Kemar Roach, whose highest test score is 50 something, and he's directing Justin Graves in how to go about trying to save this game. The cricketers, I've not heard a West Indies cricketer or Barbados cricketer over the last 5-10 years who has excelled and has been interviewed after, and he's not said something positive about the impact that Roach had. Even Joseph last year against Australia. Okay, so yes, it's not a matter of one selector or three selectors. It's a matter of people being honest with themselves and showing the integrity required to be in charge of this cricket.
Let me apologize for raising your question. I had no intention, Philip, to bring you at the stage. All I am saying is that, listen, let me just stop here by saying we are happy for that marathon. It's a marathon spell that those two gentlemen demonstrated. I mean, we can't even say it's not going to happen again because I am old enough to remember Derek Murray and Andy Roberts.
Yes.
So
yes.
these things have happened already, but you see this length of time? This is 5 cricket sessions. 5 sessions. Those gentlemen batted. And if they were not determined not to lose this game, we could have gone, God, they would have gone after late in the last hour. They could have gone after getting this total. But Roach, an hour and a half, over 90 minutes, Roach refused to take a single. Now that is what it's called batting and using the time. Listen, there aren't enough superlatives that we can use to describe what happened last night between Justin Graves and Kemar Roach. 2 men from the north. 2 men from the north.
Yeah.
You're talking about Justin Graves and Kemar Roach, but Bishop, it wasn't Bishop, I think it was one of the New Zealand commentators on the day before the last, I think it was, made mention of the fact that, made a comment about the privilege that Lane and Shields, in playing with Roach. And this was before the 5 wicket haul. At the point when this comment was made, Roach had a wicket or two. But even the commentators, the New Zealand commentators, could understand the value of having a player like Kemar Roach in the West. He hadn't taken 5 wickets yet. He started the last day with 1 wicket, didn't he?
Only one.
Not
Only
the
two.
I think two. I think two.
not the
Two.
last
Yeah,
day.
he had two the last day.
The going into the last part of the innings.
Mhm.
Okay, he started with 1 or 2 wickets, and then he picked up wickets later on. And he ended up with 5 because there were only 4 wickets down. You recall,
Yeah, he had two. And he had two.
for a
He had
while.
two, and then he picked up three.
He had 2, then he picked up 3. Thank you.
Yes.
So he hadn't had that big haul when this comment was made. So it was a matter of these guys recognizing the man and what he has stood for over the years, and the importance of players like Shields and Lane being in the same team with this guy. Could the selector and those around West Indies cricket, did they realize that before the tour started? You toss away Kemar Roach. And now when it comes to the batting and the whole episode on the final day, do you think that Johan Lane would ever forget that? Or Shields? In fact, they had the camera on them at certain times,
I
and
thank
Johan
you.
Lane
I thank you.
was like a kid in school.
Yes, very true. Very true.
I think we need people in charge of our cricket who understand relationships, who understand development, who understand things that these guys obviously don't understand, who make these decisions.
So, Philip, what you're saying is the moving on comment was totally out of place.
I am saying that these guys obviously don't understand what they're doing. They play some cricket, they can bat better than you and bowl better than me. And
Right.
that seems to be the beginning and the end of their usefulness. And I'm talking about the administration, not talking about the players.
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of things I would like to say, though. One, that we know what Roach can do with the ball, right? I think everybody appreciates that. His
I know what he
record
can do with the bat as well. Bishop kept saying it. He's
Yeah.
never, he used the word stonewalling. And he said he's done this before, not to this extent. And he was right, not
Right.
to this extent. He's never batted two sessions virtually before. Okay? But he's done this sort of thing. You've got to know people. You got to follow the cricket and know people. And I'm not upset with you guys. But when I think of the folly that we've had to put up with in terms of the people running this cricket, it's annoying.
Yeah.
But I will try to calm myself.
Please control yourself. Please control yourself.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that the performance, and as you said, he's done it a number of times. But I mean, the exceptional performance on this occasion, he batted what, 39 overs. I hope that the other players, younger players, and the batsmen, you know, in our squad, learn a lesson of putting value on their wicket. You know, because that's what Kemar did. He played for the team, and he put his value on his wicket. Because we've seen on a number of occasions when things haven't looked good, that some of the players, especially one that everybody keeps saying is a capable batsman, Mr. Alzari, you know, things are bleak, but he'll throw away his hand. And that's not what you do if you're a serious team player and you're playing for the team. And one other thing that I would like to say is the batting coach gets a lot of lashes, right? Especially when the batting unit does badly. So I'm sure there are people saying, man, I can't understand. Ross didn't get out the same way both times. What is the batting coach doing? But I'm sure you're not going to hear a lot of people saying Justin played a shot that he shouldn't have played in the first innings, scored 0, and then came back and scored a double. So I'm putting it out there to a lot of people who give criticism. I hope they will also give some credit. And
You
not
believe
just,
that the batting coach, you believe that the batting coach had anything to do with Justin. Great
Harley,
batting.
let me jump in here before Harley. Harley, we got to be balanced, and I believe in something called credibility. Okay,
right.
And to be credible, you got to be consistent. Okay. Now we, led by me, right, very quick to utilize the events of the final day and the last couple of days to try to justify certain things about Roach, about the administration, and so on. You got to be balanced. The same Bishop who I quoted on a number of occasions because of things he said that he would know that we weren't privy to. Made mention of the work done by Reefer with Graves. I wasn't there. But if I believe Bishop that on his phone, he saw people all around the world messaging and tune into the game, why would I choose, without evidence, to doubt him that Reefer had influence over Graves? So I'm not going to go there with you, Hardy. Sorry.
Right.
Okay. Because I
Let me
believe
hear
that
Terry.
I
I
believe that
want to hear Terry.
yeah, you're going to hear time, but I believe I can only go if I'm going to believe Bishop and I don't have any evidence to refute. Why would I choose to believe this and choose not to believe that part? Because I only believe the parts that fit my narrative. I'm not going to go there. The point is, I actually believe sometimes that we can be too critical for it to be useful. Because, and I'm not even talking now about the administrators, I'm talking about John Public. Okay? Because we hear every day, we hear calls for this body to resign, the next person resign. I'm still waiting, it's already this, to see who will give credit for the recall of hope, because that was criticized. Okay? Who recall hope? I want to see who's going to give credit, okay, for any aspect of what happened in this test match. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not putting a case for or against the selector or the administration as such. I'm using the events to give them lashes when I think they deserve it, but to give them praise when I think they deserve it. And I think if I do that, then I should have some sort of credibility because I would then be seen as being fair, at least hopefully.
Let me just jump in here quickly.
Uh-huh.
I'm not at this point saying that Reefer is a great coach or Reefer
Neither
is
am
an
I.
average coach
Neither am I.
or Reefer is a poor coach. What I'm saying is,
Mhm.
if one is going to be critical when the team, the batting unit does poorly,
Mhm.
it only makes common sense that you also have to give credit. I have no idea what he does. If he does a poor job, a good
And
job,
we don't have an idea what he does or doesn't do when they
I have no
fail.
idea. But if you're gonna jump
So
on him
yeah,
for the poor performances all the time, right?
yeah.
It's only logical that you pass him credit.
Otherwise, the only thing is that is in doubt that is your own credibility. But
Yes.
what I really want to say before that, and maybe I'll hold that comment for later because it's not directly related to what you guys are trashing out right now. And Hartley wants to hear the basketball. I don't know why I'm calling the basketball all the time today. And that's tongue in cheek because he's as much a cricketer or more of a cricketer than most of us, Stephen. He was actually left out by the national selectors. Were you ever left out by the national selectors, Stephen?
I have never had the privilege or the hurt or the harm.
Neither have I, and I don't even know that Hartley has. So, Terry, let us abandon this basketball thing and give you the respect due as a guy who almost made the Barbados junior team.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, if that's my claim to fame in cricket, I'll take it.
Uh-huh.
Right. So a couple of things. First thing, professional athletes have to have a very short memory. What happened last night should be celebrated all up to probably today, and then you work that way, and then you start to work on what is going to happen next. That's the first thing. The second thing, though, about the coach is our idea of a batting coach at a senior level, at international level, is not the right one because at that level, a batting coach is to tweak things, right? A batting coach can't really fix your flaws in an international competition with high pressure and everybody, you're in a building, 20,000 people, all the hailing against you, and you expect that batting coach can fix flaws of people who got major flaws, right? He could tweak some things. Like, he might see something in the game and say, okay, look, take, according to Hartley, take off stump guard or take, middle stump guard and instead of trying to hook the short ball, just duck. Right? You understand? Things like that. But you can't we got some people with some major flaws. I mean, even although New Zealand was behind the 8 ball and it looked like it was going to be a draw and all of our stomachs were like, real butterflies, they were still bowling short balls. The ball is soft and they're still trying to bowl short balls. Why? Because their workout the short balls that gave me problems. And we decided that instead of trying to play a shot, right? I mean,
Yes.
Justin got hit on his hip. I mean, try to avoid the ball, don't move the bat out of the way, and just take it on his body. So I'm saying, like we gotta
We
really
don't know.
come.
We don't. I thought you were saying that we don't know if that was suggested by the batting coach. But go ahead.
No, but we gotta start with this
Nitpicking.
nonsense about somebody trying to fix somebody's flaw in the middle of international competition. That is rubbish, right? And when we get to that point of understanding that where all your flaws supposed to be fixed is when no one is looking, then we will be able to produce batters that can, be world type beaters, and we would have better results.
Mm.
One of the last thing I would say is, remember, football calls the coach a manager.
Mm.
Reason why they call the coach a manager, right? Because he manages
The process.
egos and look at strategy and tactics and that sort of thing. He ain't looking at it for man, can't kick a ball with your left foot. Right?
Well, unlike in the West Indies team, you don't bring a guy into the team to learn to kick the ball.
Right. So
Anyway, but
yeah,
go ahead.
we have warped the what is called the professional model, right?
Yeah.
Where really, professional model is really about people being, strategy and tactics and mind games and that sort of stuff. And instead of I come out here and again bowl all the time, or you can't help the short ball. Those things are supposed to be fixed long before. I mean, when no one is looking.
So when you get into the exam, which is what Test cricket is, on international cricket, when you get into the examination room, when you realize there are things you don't know, you might try your best, but then you need to go and pay again and redo the exam after you go and learn the work. But
Or cheat.
Or cheat. But you don't go in the exam room. You don't go in the exam room to learn the work, and that's what that's what some of our selectors think, and sadly, many of the fans believe that too. But tell me something, though, guys. Anybody here? You ever heard of Fazal Mahmood or Mahmoud Hussein? And y'all ever heard those two names?
I know Fazad Mahmood, but not Mahmoud Hussein.
Okay. Tell me about Fazal Mahmood.
He Pakistani.
Uh-huh.
He was an excellent cricketer.
Okay.
Long before our time.
Okay, good. Well, hold it there. That's enough for now. Terry or Stephen, you all remember hearing about the 365 not out that Sober scored? Gary Sober, sorry?
Yes.
You remember hearing? What are your thoughts? You think this was something amazing coming along and hearing about this? It was an amazing thing, or you figured that there's nothing, and one of these days Lara will score 400 and that would be the thing. Tell me what y'all think. No, was there something that
I thought that was rhetorical, really. I thought that was rhetorical.
Okay, sorry. Okay. The two gentlemen I mentioned, okay, were missing from the Pakistani attack for a significant period, if not all of it, during that innings.
Yeah. Listen, Philip.
Do you know? While I'm on a roll, are you aware that when the late Sir Everton scored his 5 consecutive centuries, that India had not yet won a Test match?
But Philip, why?
Why am I bringing up this? But let me tell you why I bring it up before some people hear part of what I've said and run away and misunderstand. I don't mean you guys. I mean the people who choose to listen to parts of things. Like those who heard last night, somehow in the view that Chair seemed to be upset that West Indies in. And I never heard that, and I watched the same interview. But people hear and see what they want to hear and see. So basically, what I am saying here is, I am offering that because I've heard 1 or 2 comments that the New Zealanders were down 2 bowlers. That is an issue if you started following cricket last week. Okay?
Well, that would be an issue for me then.
Philip,
of course it impacted the game. Don't misunderstand me. All right?
Not true.
But that does not take away in any form or fashion.
Philip, this is the first
runs
time
on the board.
Philip, this is the first time I am going to even entertain that statement, because when I saw it in the various
I'm not the author of it. I'm offering what I just suggested to show you that
player
the
one,
amazing
two
things
player
in
cricket.
cricket that we have celebrated over the years did not happen in ideal situations either.
Mm.
But
That's,
exactly.
that's the
But
point I'm
listen,
making.
we got one person that has one test match
Mm.
and you're handling, and one person that don't play first test match and she or Marshy. So what are we going to, or just she? So what are we going to say?
So had
That
New Zealand won
played
the
off
match,
one.
you would have said, well, they deserve to
But
win because we had two bowlers who shouldn't be
I
playing.
thank you. I thank you. So I don't. There are certain statements that I don't really get involved in.
Fair enough, fair enough.
That-
So let's move on from that. We can move on from that funny. Thanks, Harley. Yeah. So
Yeah,
let's get back to the
that's
serious
part of the
discussion.
game, though, because injuries is part of professional sports, and
Exactly.
you can't say that. Toronto won the championship, the NBA championship, right?
Yes, we
And
did.
everybody in Golden State. You think when they were hanging the banner, they say, oh well, this body break hurt the ACL and this body hurt the
No.
Achilles. They just hang the banner and was
Sorry, Terry. I apologize. I should have said that anybody who has a problem or who does not want to respect what happened because New Zealand were down two bowlers only started following sport last week.
oh.
Because you're quite correct. You're quite correct. That is all part of the whole thing.
It's part of the
And
thing.
if you believe that diminishes in any way what we saw over the last 24, 48 hours, then you shouldn't even be following sport as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and on that note, one of the points that Hartley made, one of the recordings during this session was that a lot of people are knocking the West Indies team for catches dropped and so on, right? But they should also remember that Conway dropped two relatively easy catches before he took that brilliant one. Phillips, the best fielder, one of the best fielders in the world, dropped a catch. So as Hartley correctly said, catches and dropping catches are part of the game, but sometimes people see what they want to see, quite often.
Yeah, you look shocked. You look shocked when I was talking about the interview with Chase. And so just let me clarify that for those who may not.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Yes.
Yeah, no, there was the interview after the game. The
Yeah,
interview with the
as I told
captain.
you, I watch everything.
Yeah, and basically he was asked at what point, if any, were they thinking that they might be able to go on to win the game.
Mhm.
And he said that as far as he was concerned, I think he was sharing, I got the impression he was sharing his own view, that after tea would have been the time that they probably could have pushed. He said, but the batsmen, and meaning the two batsmen that were not out at that time, but the batsmen preferred to just continue batting the same way. And if they get close, then maybe make the push eventually. That was his response, which was,
Oh, okay.
to me, a clear answer to what was said. And then he went on to say, he said, but we're happy for the win. Sorry, we're happy for the draw because we now got our first points in the Test Championship. Now, we're in that. Could any person who understands the English language or even Beijing think that Chase was upset because they didn't win the game?
All right. Okay. Okay. I don't know what you didn't have for breakfast, but you understand me well. Or
Well, I
if
haven't had breakfast, so maybe that's the
just take it
problem.
easy. Just take it easy. Just take it
Because I'm
easy.
totally fed up with the folly with West Indies with
Yeah,
people who
well,
claim to be West Indies supporters, to be honest.
yeah, but
Yeah.
look,
They don't really support anything. It's criticized.
the issue is usually right. People pick things for their narrative.
Exactly.
Prince, I just want to give you one example. Prince Harry went on Colbert show, the late night show,
Mm-hmm.
and they had this little narrative going, blah blah, and he mentioned the name Trump,
Uh-huh.
and the people start to boo, right?
Uh-huh.
The people in the UK that don't like Prince Harry say
Mhm.
that they booed him for calling Trump name.
Uh-huh.
So they booed the Prince
Uh-huh.
for calling Trump name, a narrative that they had done.
Right.
Right.
So I'm telling you, based on your thinking, based on your narrative,
Mhm.
you will pull out some pieces. You don't. Most times it's the outer context
Uh-huh.
and go along with your narrative,
Yeah.
right? And feed that. And then you got some people who would feed into it and call it. Look, I believe it was a great night. I made him be happy, right? I mean, I was sleepy. But I mean, right, that we were able to bat almost 2 days, something unheard of in recent times, right? So, but I also, in the back of my mind, don't think that this is the corner, the proverbial corner that we always talking about,
Oh no,
right?
no, we, no,
I'm
no, we,
saying,
yeah, of course
I'm
not.
saying two things I would like to happen. That Justin Graves now solidify himself at that position where he's batting and start to really be consistent and also with hope. So that we have, as I said last time, starting points where we say, okay, well, these two positions are filled, so let me know work on filling the other positions, right? And we gotta stop this thing of cutting and chopping and changing based on people's, if they had indigestion or not. Because they don't be no data or no real coherence behind anything they're doing.
But
They
I
just
wish you luck. I wish you luck, Terry, with those things because um John Campbell scored a century in the last test match against India. If I'm wrong, correct me. He did. So he's played one test match since then. And before the test match was finished, there were people suggesting that he should be dropped. So if he is going to get not even the benefit of one test match without criticism, you'd be very fortunate to think that Justin Graves, because he scored a double century, that people ain't gonna be calling for his head 2 or 3 matches from now if he gets some of those scores. You
yeah,
don't
but
understand
we
the
gotta be
environment that we're in.
yeah, but we can't be that fickle. The fans could be that fickle,
I
right?
didn't make up the thing about Campbell.
Listen,
I didn't make
listen,
it up.
the fans gonna be that fickle.
Oh,
Or the people that say they know about great gonna be that fickle.
okay.
But if you really want to build a team, you
Mm,
really want to build a team, right? Not just a collection of people coming together 2 weeks before and calling it a team.
mm,
If you really want to build a team, you gotta be consistent. And consistent means that you gotta give people a run. Because if our cricket is not good enough at the development stage, we
mm.
gotta let people give people a little run in the international arena so that they could build some sort of confidence and that going forward.
Yeah, Terry, but the people right now want to drop him back because he's played 3 test matches and he hasn't had a scores yet. And and look, you said that not the people who matter. John Campbell scored a century in one day international 7 years ago and never played again until the other day.
Mhm.
So even at that level, Terry, even at that level, you get that sort of craziness. Hardly been quiet too long. What are you planning?
Well, you see, you ought to say so much, but what I want to emphasize here is that when Hope, what I'm saying, when Graves and the Roach were batting coming into in those 10 overs before the arrival of the third new ball, still a lot of overs to go. So you had they were batting time, and not only that, Terry made the point that coming to the last overs, how he had butterflies because New Zealand then went for the new ball, and
Mhm.
Duffy
I'm wasting it,
had
yeah.
the wicket. Duffy had the wicket, but the problem with the new ball, that enhanced the opportunity of getting the wicket, but it also the ball got to the boundary quicker. So when Duffy broke off the inside edge at Greer's back and it went down the leg side to the keeper, that went to the boundary,
Mm,
fine leg.
mm.
Then when he bowled the short ball and Greer's went over the cover, whacks into the boundary, 202. That is the problem with the new ball. It is new, it is hard, you can get you out, but it's going to travel to the boundary. And those two cricketers, Graves and Roach, they're intended that even if they eventually got out, it would have been so late into the evening that nobody that we could not have lost. That was cricket thinking. What I sat and watched that game, I said, these boys are really intelligent boys out there. This is intelligence out there, no, not just cricketers, intelligent cricketers.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a good thing that this happened after Independence Day. Otherwise, Hardy would have been recommended him for Independence Day honors. Final
Oh
thoughts,
yes.
gentlemen. Starting with Steven.
Um, can I just ask Hartley one quick question before we get to the final thoughts? So, having never been at the national level and such, after a victory, not a victory, in my mind it's a victory, but after a performance like last night, what would typically happen in the dressing room as far as the management and the coaching staff and so on that would hopefully translate into consistent, hopeful performances going forward? Obviously, we're not saying that, as Terry said, we turn the corner, but what kind of discussions would typically be held after a performance like last night?
Nothing. That performance, you will celebrate. Drink as much champagne, many beers as you like. You really celebrate there at the ground. You go home, go to the hotel and sleep. And in the morning, you would get up and you would say, gentlemen, let us now plan for Wednesday. Because remember, there's a short turnaround.
Right.
This second test is Wednesday. So there isn't much, as Terry said, you're a professional. You ain't got much time to celebrate. And that is why when I asked you about what you believe the coach would have said, that was the night before. He had midnight, went home and sleep, and came in next morning, I had the back. So he had much time to talk to rush and that was at all. Most probably, if there was any conversation at all, Graves would have spoken with Hope, and he said, "Listen, let us change our batting style. Let us get, because if you do not get in line with the ball, it is going to leave you." And that is what, and I kept saying it all the time. The ball was leaving them because they were square on. They were not getting in line. And once they got in line, the late movement, the early movement, don't care what you do, you will play. So that is all. They celebrated last night until the wee hours in the morning, and then they're sleeping now. And I'm very happy for them. Very happy.
Philip, to get back to your
That sounds
first
roughly
question.
like your final thoughts, Harley. So I don't think
Yes, very much so.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
So
as
Stephen,
I said,
when you finish, then we'll close with Terry.
yeah, my final thoughts are simply that I'm a very happy man. I know that a lot of West Indian fans are very happy. We know, that, as Terry says and keeps saying repeatedly, we have not turned the corner, but let's just celebrate and be happy with the performance. And I look forward to the guys continuing to do well.
Yeah, I'm just echoing Stephen's comments. I just wanted to continue to perform at this level, and we will have some inconsistencies, yes, but we will also remember there's a saying that I always we have brilliance interspersed among mediocrity, right?
Yes.
Right. So this is a point of brilliance, but what I would pray for and hope for, and you know, want just in time is
Go, Terry, go.
is that we look at this, we see what can be done. We learn from it, but we put it on our minds and be prepared for Wednesday. And then when Wednesday comes, then deal with what's coming.
Well, I can tell you this much, gentlemen. Yes, it's a short turnaround. The second test will begin soon, but they didn't pick me, so I don't have to worry about that. I can celebrate for as long as I want, and that's just what I plan to do. So, thank you, gentlemen. Hartley, Stephen, Terry. Nice chatting with you as always. Let's hope that we get the opportunity for more enjoyable conversations like this rather than the morning type of conversation we've grown accustomed to over the last 20 years or
100%,
so.
100%.
I agree.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day, Jets.
boy.
Okay, bye-bye.